with that, we welcome Vice Admiral Robert Harward. Welcome to the show, sir. Thank you for coming on. What are you thinking about here, given your life experience the last few days?
Connell, I got to jump in. One, first, good to be with you, but also I got to jump in with what Robert just said. Everyone is looking forward, is happy about the ceasefire. Everyone wants peace, but we're still at war. And so I think if this brings the Iranians to the negotiation table, it's going to be productive. But this thing is not over by any stretch of the imagination. And if you remember correctly, during the first Trump administration, where he set the first step of strategic deterrence by targeting and removing Qasem Soleimani, the head of the IRGC. And then he also pulled out of the JICPOA because it didn't address the other elements of this war. And as Robert just talked, it's more than just the hostages in Gaza. It's the nuke programs. Will they agree unfettered access for IAEA inspectors to ensure they do not reconstitute these programs? Will they remove their ICBMs? Will they stop funding their surrogates? So there's a lot of unanswered issues. And if all of this leads to that negotiations, it'll be a better day for all of us.
Do you have any best guesses, again, given how well you know the Iranian kind of state of being about any of those questions? I mean, you're right, those are the big questions. Do you have any best guesses on answers?
Yeah, they're devious. They've proven that for the last 45 years. They've always agreed and then reneged on everything they've done. So I applaud the state of Israel for taking these bold actions to finally stop this oppressive regime and their reign of terror, which has exceeded 45 years. You know, we have to be in lockstep with the state of Israel. We've got to follow through and make sure we set the conditions for long-standing peace. And there's myself and 70 other flag officers signed a letter initiated by the Jewish Institute for National Security of America, condemning these actions and ensuring we stay in lockstep to make sure we establish all the parameters that are verifiable for long-term peace. We cannot trust this regime to hold to their word, and they've proven that consistently over their entire existence.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of verifying, I wonder if you have any perspective on what we're hearing from Secretary Hegseth and others today. Go to the tablet for a moment to talk about our operation, which was extraordinary from a military point of view, to these B-2 bombers flying over the sea and into Iranian airspace to do the damage that they did with the bunker buster bombs, which we have in this animation, first time used in combat, going deep inside a place like Fordo, we thought. Now, with reports speculating about, you know, was it really wiped out? Hegseth says yes. You know, the Congress hasn't been briefed on it yet. Any perspective on damage that might have been done and how long it'll take to know?
Well, two things. First off, without a doubt, it's going to take a long time, a lot of money, a lot of resources to reconstitute. Not just the material, but the centrifuges, maybe even the intellectual capacity to bring this together. But more importantly, I believe, is this once again illustrates to the world the one attribute the U.S. has that no one else has: the ability to project power. So not only is this strategic deterrence against the Iranian regime, but sends a clear message to Russia, a clear message to China. And as you see now with the president in Europe, this unified front with NATO and the approach to Ukraine reinforces that we are willing to act if necessary. And I think that's one of the things this administration was focused on, reinstalling our ability to strategically deter our adversaries or acting against us. So this strike reinforces and validates our technology and how we've leveraged that in our military capabilities.
It was an extraordinary military accomplishment. Does it wipe out, to use the Secretary's term, the Iranian nuclear program? And What about this highly enriched uranium that nobody seems to be able to account for? I'm looking at a screen now from the IAEA that says there's 902 pounds of this stuff that could make 10 warheads. What would you say about that, and whether Iran still has a nuclear program today?
Well, I would say they'll always have a nuclear program. That's why we can't sue for peace till we ensure we have the mechanisms to validate that. And that's unfettered access for the IEA inspectors. Now, okay, so we may not have gotten all the material, but if we've taken out the centrifuges, what you're looking right now on the screen, and they can't process to highly enriched, weapons grade material, then we've accomplished our goals. But all of those components can be reconstituted over time. So again, suing for peace without those mechanisms that ensure they never have a nuclear weapon is the opportunity we have right now. And I hope we don't let that slide out of our fingers.
One last quick question of personal perspective. For someone who literally, sounds like grew up, right, in Iran, what was Iran like in the 70s, and could it be like that ever again?
That's what we all pray for. Iran's a highly educated country, a rich history. They were very close to the West, very prosperous. The regime has basically held the people of Iran hostage for over 45 years. In my opinion, we've got to get rid of them. That should be the end state, because if we did, with peace in the region between Israel, Iran, UAE, Southern Saudi, and Qatar, that's 600 billion barrels of oil. They can be one of the most prosperous regions in the world. And it's just a tragedy that this regime, who's prospered and leveraged conflict their entire existence to control their people and oppressive, has to be dealt with at the end of the day. It's really a human tragedy across the board for everyone.
Admiral Harward, thank you, sir. Thanks for the perspective.
Thanks, John. Good to be with you.